Is time actually speeding up? You probably felt it. The years are flying by. Remember how endless summers felt as a kid? Now it's like you blink and it's tax season again. Everyone says time flies like it's just a figure of speech, but what if it's more than that? What if time actually speeds up as we get older? Not just subjectively, but psychologically or neurologically, and maybe even cosmically. The feeling that life is accelerating isn't just some aging cliche, it's backed by data, psychology, and philosophy. Studies show kids perceive time in slow motion compared to adults. Meanwhile, digital life is bombarding us with micro events that feel fast but blur together in hindsight. Throw in neuroscience, cultural pressures, and maybe even the fabric of space-time, and suddenly your sense of time slipping away sounds kind of legit. In this video, we'll pull back the curtain and explore why time feels different at different stages of life and what you can actually do about it. So let's get into it and decode this together. Welcome back to Thinking and Being. If you like what you see today, please be sure to like and subscribe, as this will enable you to see more content from myself and others just like this. And I plan to be around for a while, so your help is much appreciated if you go ahead and just click those buttons. So why this topic? I've been thinking a lot about this. I started noticing something strange, not just in myself, but in the people around me, friends, coworkers, parents. I've also seen a lot of different articles on this pop up all around the internet, which really piqued my interest. Everyone says it. This year flew by. How is it already June? How is it 2025? I like to reference everything to the Batman movie from 1989.
What are you? I'm Batman.
I remember in 1999, I'm like, how is this movie 10 years old already? Well, now the movie is 36 years old. How is that possible? And like pretty soon, it's going to be Christmas again, for crying out loud.
Brother.
So what happened to the time? And all this got me wondering, is it just us getting older, or is time really warping as we go? If we're not paying attention, we might be fast forwarding through our best years without even realizing it. And I wanted to know if there's any way to slow time down, whether it's mentally or physically or even spiritually. So I wanted to understand it, and I wanted to share it here with you. So the first main idea we're going to talk about is the various reasons why time seems to speed up as you get older. And if you don't see a certain reason that you've recognized, please comment below. So the first one is the open perception of childhood. Time feels slower when you're young because everything is new. Children perceive the world with open, unfiltered awareness. No assumptions, no routines. Each experience is novel, and novelty stretches time. It's the cognitive equivalent of recording in slow motion. More details are noticed, more frames are captured per second. As we age, this beginner's mind closes up and the frame rate tends to drop. And then there's the decline in novelty seeking. We tend to stop seeking new experiences as we age. The fewer firsts you have, the fewer reference points you create in your mind. Time without milestones fades into the background like white noise. If you're not actively surprising your brain, time becomes forgettable, just as these baseball broadcasters discussed live on the air.
The science behind that is that the older you get, there are fewer novel experiences that slow time down. So as a kid, like every moment arrests you because it's the first time you've seen it. The older you get, the fewer things you're seeing for the first time, and so the fewer things slow down time for you.
I like that theory. I like the theory, but I'm looking for the how to slow down time.
Yeah, find stuff that's novel.
Am I going to feel any better?
Next, memory density and the flip book illusion. Think of your life like a flip book. When you're a kid, you fill pages rapidly. Every moment feels fresh. But as an adult, experiences blend together. Days blur. We simply record fewer pages per unit of time. Time seems to speed up not because clocks tick faster, but because your memory gets sparser. More time has passed, but fewer pages have been added to the mental book. And then there's percentage of time lived. The proportional theory says that each year is a smaller fraction of your total life. A year to a 5-year-old is 20% of their entire existence. To a 50-year-old, it's just 2%. This shrinking ratio alters how time feels. It's not psychological trickery, but it's a built-in flaw in how we anchor new time relative to past time. Also, routines compress time. Routines, while they're efficient, are time-blurring machines. If you live the same day over and over, your brain stops bookmarking it. That's why commutes, brushing your teeth, or eating the same lunch disappear from your memory. You don't remember what it's like brushing your teeth yesterday. You lived those hours, but your brain didn't bother filing them away. The less you remember, the faster time feels. Also, there's lower cognitive bandwidth. Aging comes with decreased neuroplasticity and slower processing speed. This doesn't mean we're less capable, it's just that we process information differently, more efficiently perhaps, but less richly. Like switching from a high frame rate camera to a power saving mode. The world moves at the same pace, but our mind records it less vividly. Why do I sneeze when I do this? I'm always sneezing and burping. And then there's anxiety. Anxiety pulls you out of the now. Children are in the now. Adults are trained into anxiety. Future deadlines, past regrets, performance metrics, you name it. The mind becomes a time traveler, rarely resting in the present. My first episode of this channel is on this very topic, so feel free to go check that out. But presence is the only place time truly unfolds. If you're always forecasting or ruminating, you miss time while it's actually happening. And then there's systemic speed up. Our systems, capitalism, technology, hustle culture, reward speed, scale, and urgency. But the faster we go, the more we compress life into short-term chunks. One email leads to 10 tasks. One swipe leads to 100 dopamine hits. When everything speeds up, time feels like it's vanishing because your attention is being split and fragmented and rushed. And then there's relativity, but the vibe edition. Time flies when you're having fun and drags when you're not. Einstein joked, put your hand on a hot stove for a minute and it seems like an hour. Sit with a pretty girl for an hour and it seems like a minute. That's relativity of perception. Emotion is a time dial. Flow states expand time by immersing us. Boredom or pain stretches it unbearably. It's not just poetic, it's cognitive neuroscience. Your vibe, stress, joy, anxiety, literally bends the way you experience time, like a soft psychological form of Einstein's relativity. And finally, time is subjective, not uniform. Mind time is not physical time. Einstein proved that time is relative to speed and gravity, but on a human level, time is also relative to attention, emotion, and identity. 10 people in a room experience a minute differently. One person in trauma may feel it drag, while another one in joy feels it vanish. The illusion of time speeding up is just that, an illusion built from within. And real quick, one of the things I do in my videos is promote others' products. And of course, I'm not getting paid, but I figure it's good karma. It might be a product you really like or need. And it's great practice for when this channel gets monetized, which of course is going to happen. And this time around, I'm going to be promoting the Asus Republic of Gaming Strix G614J gaming laptop. And what I really love about this laptop, I've been using it for the past month for my editing software. As you know, software gets more and more intense and it does a great job of making your hardware more obsolete. Well, this laptop will get you ahead of that problem. It used to take me up to 8 to 10 hours with my old laptop, which is an i7 processor, to export my videos when I'm done editing. And now it only takes 8 to 10 minutes max to export a very large file. And it's just a great mix of size, weight, performance, entertainment, and professionalism in one laptop. As I tend to try to make my laptops last up to 6, 7, 8 years, and I've done pretty good doing that, I was also able to find a really good deal for this laptop, even though these tend to be pretty pricey. At least I'll put a link below and you can check out the laptop, and I think you won't be disappointed. Okay, back to the video. Next, we're going to use a systems thinking approach to analyze our perception of time. When we talk about perceived time over a lifetime, we tend to feel like it speeds up as we age. And if you graphed it, it would almost look exponential. The first 20 years feels like a lifetime, but by the time you're 40, decades blur together like fast-forwarded movie scenes. The perceived velocity of time isn't linear, it accelerates. Why? Because each additional year is a smaller percentage of your total lived experience. 1 year at age 10 is 10% of your life. At age 50, it's just 2. So your brain naturally gives it less relative weight. Time, in this way, is not just a clock, it's a ratio. And this also makes me wonder about things like animals who might perceive time differently, in the sense that for those that have lower lifespans, like a squirrel that lives 2 or 3 years, are they experiencing much longer days? And do they sense far more time between sunrise and sunset? And think about your pets. Is a day to them like a week or a month? From a causal loop standpoint, looking at novelty versus routine, here's where systems start revealing feedback loops. When life is full of novelty, we lay down dense, textured memories. But as we age, routines take over. That's just the way our society works. Wake up, brush teeth, check phone, work, dinner, repeat. This creates a negative feedback loop. Routine leads to fewer memorable events, which makes time feel like it's passing faster, which leads us to streamline life even more. It's not just that you're busy, it's that your brain has fewer narrative bookmarks to anchor the passage of time. So in a loop system, the less novelty you experience, the faster life seems to go. Break the loop and time slows down. Thinking about mindfulness as intervention, a cybernetic loop isn't just reactive, it's self-aware. When we become aware that time is flying, we can intervene. Mindfulness, intentional scheduling, trying new things. These introduce friction into the system, slowing it down just enough for the brain to record and encode. If you design and build novelty into your daily loop, even micro-novelty, like taking a different route to work or working with your left hand instead of your right, you create perceptual breaks that tells your nervous system, pay attention. And when you pay attention, time stretches. It's an adjustable loop if you know how to tune it. And then looking at layers of understanding, from physics to mind time. To fully grasp time, we need to think in layers. On the bottom is physics. Time is a coordinate, measurable and immutable, thanks to Einstein. And then next, biological time, circadian rhythms, dopamine cycles, brain aging. And then there's psychological time, how we feel about time passing, which I'm probably going to do the next video on this very topic. And then finally, there's philosophical or existential time, the meaning that we attach to our moments. Most people only operate on 1 or 2 of these layers, but the real insight and power comes when you see how they interrelate. It's not just that time flies, it's that you are a multi-layered system filtering it through memory, expectation, and choice. And another thing I do in my videos is a YouTube shout out to shout out other content creators on YouTube. I do this because number 1, it's good karma, and number 2, I need to give them the credit they deserve for putting out good content and inspiring me to do it as well. Today I want to promote Chris Williamson, who is a very popular YouTuber, and his format is much like the format of Diary of a CEO, whom I've promoted before. And Chris Williamson tends to get some of the brightest minds on his channel talking about the most relevant and real topics. His videos definitely don't disappoint. So I'll leave a link to his channel, as well as a recent interview with Scott Galloway, one of his guests, whom I've cited in my last video about Gen Z. But this particular video is about how to escape the rat race in life by having passive income greater than what you burn, which could actually help you get out of routines and slow time down in your life.
Why is Bart so tall and shaggy?
Just one of life's mysteries. Like, why is my nose jammed full of army men?
Oh, come on! Don't you get it? Bart stopped time with his magic stopwatch. Jealous much? Why can't I tinker with the fabric of existence?
Now let's go over some tips. First, reclaim novelty even in small doses. If routine accelerates time, novelty slows it down. You don't need to sell your house and go backpacking through Vietnam, but you could try micro-novelty. Eat your lunch with a non-dominant hand. Take a different route home. Listen to a podcast in a genre that you typically don't listen to. These tiny disruptions create new memory nodes, and your brain says, this is different, let's remember it. Suddenly your week isn't a blur. You gave it texture. Time stretches when your brain is forced to pay attention. So if the years are flying by for you, stop flying on autopilot. Second, time track your attention, not your tasks. You don't experience time in hours, you experience it in attention. So instead of obsessing over your calendar, look at where your attention goes. Did you scroll Instagram for 30 minutes and retain 0 moments? That time is gone, like it didn't exist. But 5 minutes in full presence with a friend or in deep thought, that sticks. Try journaling. Where did I really live today? Start to shift from a task-based to an attention-based mindset. It's not how long your day is, it's how alive it felt. Third, you can break the anxiety time compression cycle. Anxious people experience time differently. You're always forecasting, catastrophizing the future, or reliving the past. This narrows attention and shortens your perception window. So one fix, time box your worry. Give yourself 10 minutes a day to freak out, crash out. Literally set a timer, then move on. Also, shift your focus from what might go wrong to what might be worth remembering. That's not just mindfulness, it's strategic pattern disruption. You're training your brain to widen its lens, letting time breathe again. Fourth, mark time with ritual, not just routine. Routine blurs memory, but ritual anchors it. The difference, intention. Lighting a candle while writing or doing a Sunday reflection walk every week turns mundane time into sacred time. It's like tagging your moments with a highlighter. Rituals make certain moments glow, and that glow slows time. Creating recurring moments that mean something to you, a monthly letter to your future self, a playlist you only play while traveling, or a personal question you ask yourself every week. Ritual is memory's architecture, and memory is the drag coefficient of time. And fifth, schedule awe. This one's probably underrated. Neuroscience tells us that awe expands time perception. It slows the heartbeat, widens the pupils, and enhances recall. The good news? You don't need to go to the Grand Canyon. You can just watch a thunderstorm, stare at the stars, go look at the ocean, walk somewhere at sunrise. The trick is to schedule it. Put awe on the calendar, just like laundry. Thursday feels small in a big world. Awe recalibrates your scale of importance, pulls you into the moment, and stretches it like taffy. It's a time machine in disguise. And then last, create story, not just progress. Here's the final and maybe deepest lever that you can use. Your life isn't a checklist, it's a story. And time slows when you're telling a good one. That means framing your week not as a productivity contest, but as a narrative. What did you learn? What surprised you? And what plot twist happened? A day without reflection is like a chapter you forgot to write. At the end of each week, ask, what's the story I'm telling with my life right now? Make it worth reading. A storied life is a slow life because you're not just living it, you're making sense of it. Thanks for watching today. My 3 key takeaways are, for the overwhelmed, if time is speeding up, it's probably because you stopped noticing it. And then for the more philosophical, time is elastic. It stretches when you feel and shrinks when you don't. And then for the action-oriented, slow time down by choosing presence over pressure. Novelty, awe, ritual, reflection are your tools. I've been wanting to talk about this particular topic for a while now. What other interesting topics should I discuss? Go ahead and comment below. If you like what you saw today, please go ahead and like and subscribe, as it'll keep this kind of content coming your way. And it's my goal to make this content entertaining and funny, enlightening and educational, as well as a little bit nostalgic. And stay tuned as we're going to talk about topics ranging from consciousness to physics, as well as the intersections in between that affect your thinking and being. And our next episode is going to be on the concept of psychological age. But until then, keep thinking and being, and do not go gentle into that good night.